He catches a pass, the window closes, and a season's worth of patience snaps. Travis Kelce, once the unquestioned heartbeat of the Chiefs' offense, watched a routine-looking throw slip through his hands late in Kansas City's 2010 loss to the Houston Texans, and the ball was returned for an interception that effectively ended the Chiefs' comeback. It was the kind of play that becomes a headline, not because it was unique, but because of when it happened and who made it. This wasn't a one-off misread or a rookie wobble. Kelce finished the night with a single catch for 8 yards, and that drop turnover sits like a stone in a pond. The ripples reach beyond the box score. The Chiefs, who have depended on late-game magic and the steady hands of veterans like Kelce for years, lost a game that now mathematically eliminated them from winning the AFC West. The context makes the moment uglier. It's not just a missed opportunity, it's part of a pattern in a season that's spiraled into confusion and frustration. What made the reaction so loud wasn't only the play, it was the behavior after it. Kelce declined 2 separate interview requests following the game, a choice that social media and sections of the fan base interpreted as avoidance at a critical moment. In a locker room culture where accountability is currency, ducking the mic after a play that cost your team feels like bad optics. It's not just that he was having an off night. It's that leaders are expected to stand in the wreckage and explain what went wrong, not step around the questions. You could hear the impatience in the replies on social platforms, calls for accountability, digs about podcast banter, and a level of cynicism that grows louder when teams stutter. Teammate Rashee Rice, who also had a painful drop on a crucial 4th down target, joined Kelce in avoiding the postgame scrum, and that collective silence only stoked the anger. Fans want answers, but they also want a face that looks them in the eye and owns the mistake when a season is on the line. Silence reads like surrender. It reads like a compounding of the problem. Still, we should unpack this beyond sound bites. Kelce is 35, in the final year of a contract that carries weight in both cap terms and symbolism. He's been the kind of consistent matchup wrecker and mental security blanket that allows an offense to play with swagger. But this year, production has dipped. Aging, nagging injuries, and the slow erosion of timing with Mahomes, who himself threw 3 interceptions in this game, have left the unit less cohesive than the dynasty years. Football is physical and temporal. As bodies age, windows shrink, and coordination that once seemed automatic becomes a fragile choreography. The drop itself wasn't an isolated tragedy for Kelce. It's the latest data point in a season where the Chiefs have failed to secure the little plays that used to define them. 4th down conversions, tipped throws pulled from air by veteran hands, and the kind of attention that prevents a desperate defense from snapping the momentum. When a team is sliding, the margin for error narrows. A chain of small failures turns into a collapse, and leaders are the ones who either steady or accelerate the fall. The question after Sunday is whether Kelce's off night is a blip or the beginning of a decline that costs the Chiefs in both the short and long term. There's also a human element that gets lost in the hot takes. Declining reporters might be a sign of frustration, fatigue, or a desire to protect the team's internal process. Veteran players sometimes believe their words can create noise that the coaches then have to manage. But the era of accountability culture in sports runs deep. The best leaders not only own mistakes in private, but do so publicly too. That's how trust rebuilds. Speaking after a loss isn't a performance. It's a signal that you're still available to the team, to the city, and to the narrative that matters most, the fight to fix things. Off the field, the stakes are personal and practical. Kelce's contract year adds pressure. Every misstep invites speculation about his future in Kansas City. Will the team re-sign him at the same value? Will they ask him to accept a reduced role? Will he want to finish his career in a place where the championship window is narrowing? Those aren't merely fan hypotheticals. They're real front office calculations that factor into roster building and cap strategy. When a player's production dips while the team slides, the negotiation table gets noisier. For Patrick Mahomes, this game was a rarity, a subpar night with 3 interceptions and just 42.4% completion. Offense is rarely a one-man show, and the combination of Mahomes' timing being off and the supporting cast failing to hold on to opportunities exposed a truth. This Chiefs team is more fragile than in years past. Injuries on the offensive line, drops in the receiving core, and a defense that didn't generate enough takeaways left Kansas City with a narrowing path to the postseason. In that setting, every missed catch looks larger, and every avoided interview looks like an abdication of responsibility. It's worth noting the other side. Criticism can be corrosive when it's only noise. Veteran players deserve context and the chance to correct course. Kelce has been a pillar for years. Players don't change fundamentally overnight. But the public's reaction underscores a shifting mood. Fans are tired of excuses and want results. And in a sport where accountability is performative and practical, actions matter as much as words. So what happens next? Sunday's loss hands the Chiefs a road filled with hard choices. They'll need to tighten fundamentals, catch the ball, protect the QB, and stop gambling on fourth down heroics in their own half if they want any realistic chance at salvaging the season. Kelce can respond the obvious way: show up to practice, secure the ball, make teams pay when they dare leave him one-on-one. He can also address the media, explain what happened, and remind the fan base that leadership includes ownership in the public square. For fans, the takeaway is a blend of disappointment and demand. You can admire a career and still expect accountability in its twilight. You can celebrate the years and insist that the present moment be treated with the urgency it deserves. The Chiefs are in a season that no one planned for, and the acts of their stars on and off the field will determine whether this year is a hiccup or the start of a deeper decline. Travis Kelce's drop and his post-game silence are headlines that will linger. Not because they're the end of the story, but because they force the question every franchise must answer when it confronts decline. Who will step up? Who will accept blame? And who will do the work to rebuild the culture that once turned mistakes into mere bumps on the way to the championship? The clock is ticking, and answers aren't optional anymore. Patrick Mahomes struggled, Travis Kelce had a costly drop, and the Kansas City Chiefs slipped to a 2010 loss to the Houston Texans, a defeat that not only put Kansas City's playoff hopes in serious peril, but also ignited a social media firestorm after some of the team's leaders declined to face reporters. ESPN.com, opening with the facts. The Chiefs never found any consistent rhythm. Patrick Mahomes finished 14 of 33 for 160 yards and 3 interceptions, and Kansas City's offense managed just 1 touchdown, a Kareem Hunt run, while coughing up opportunities in key moments. That line, 3 picks in a single night, is the kind of stat that flips the script on even the most confident dynasties. ESPN.com. The turning point came late in the fourth quarter. With Kansas City trying to mount a comeback, Mahomes targeted Travis Kelce on a crucial play. The ball slipped through Kelce's hands and was scooped up by Houston, killing the drive and putting the result out of reach. It's the kind of play that stings for a veteran leader, and in a season where every mistake magnifies, it drew harsh scrutiny. NFL.com, what stoked the backlash even more was what happened afterward. Kelce reportedly declined 2 separate requests to speak to the media after the game, and wide receiver Rashee Rice also avoided post-game interviews, choices that many fans and commentators interpreted as a lack of accountability in a moment that demanded it. Social feeds lit up within minutes, and critics framed the silence as fleeing the scene rather than facing questions about drops, routes, and execution. Instagram. Let's be clear. Nervousness, frustration, and short tempers are part of any locker room after a collapse. But at the NFL level, veterans and organizational leaders are judged not only by what they do on the field, but by how they act off it, especially when the team is teetering on the playoff bubble. Walking away from the podium in a make-or-break week becomes, in the court of public opinion, as consequential as the missed fourth-quarter conversion. ESPN.com. So what are the real consequences here? For one, the Chiefs lost another game they really couldn't afford. At 6-7, their margin for error is microscopic. They need near-perfect football the rest of the way and help from other results to even get into the field. More urgently, the optics of stars ducking media responsibility feed a narrative that the supporting cast isn't carrying its weight, and that accountability culture is fraying when the lights are brightest. ESPN.com. From a football perspective, the loss exposed two recurring problems: drops in contested situations and an